Hi, Jessie Nebulous here, and today we're going to be working with oil pastel. As you can see, I have my drawing and I am taking a kneaded eraser and I'm rolling over it just to get up some of the extra graphite so it doesn't mix in with the oil pastel and get muddy. So I'm starting with the background because generally in painting you start with the background, so that's just kind of my MO at this point, even though this technically might not be painting, though some people do refer to oil pastel drawings as paintings. Um, to me, they're more drawings, but hey, whatever the terminology is what we're doing. So I'm working with the background first. And I'm going to pick 3 different colors for the background to make a gradient. And I picked blues, and I'm going to go with pinks for the flowers. That's what the shapes are, the sort of dumbbell looking things now. And you might be saying to yourself, God, that looks awful. It looks like crayon. It's just so messy and gross. And why are you doing this? Why are you salting my eyes with this? Well, just have patience. Have patience, dear viewer. And soon you will see the majesty of the Gamsol, which is a odorless mineral spirit. And it's what I use to blend the pastel out. And it creates a lovely smooth finish. Or you can add some texture by going a little painterly with it, by adding a little more Gamsol, which I do at some points, kind of by accident. But still, it's a very nice blending technique. I've only recently started doing it, and I love it. So I'm still learning it, but I do enjoy it so very much. I love the way that it does the colors, blends them all together so that you get just such a nice look. And we'll see it soon because I'm almost done filling in the flowers. And as soon as I do, I will pour out a little bit of mineral spirits into a cup and brush it on slowly. It'll look fast in the video, of course, but you do want to go slow with it. You want to take your time. You don't want to rush it. What I'm doing now is picking off the little pieces of pastel, the little chunks. So you can see there's a little bit of Gamsol, just a tiny, tiny amount is all you need just to get started with. And look at how nicely that blends. Isn't that gorgeous? Just already, just that one little corner looks fantastic. And you don't need much on your brush, and you don't need to pour out much in your cup either. As you can see it's barely any in there, because even though it's odorless, it is toxic. So you don't want to be breathing it in. You don't want to be drinking it, obviously. I mean, just use common sense and you'll be fine. I have not had a problem yet. I haven't even gotten headaches. I thought I would. Of course, I work in a well-ventilated area. I work in my kitchen. So it's an open floor plan, so the whole room is open and it's not a tiny little room. You just want to be careful with it and just use common sense. As you can see, if you add a little too much or a little more Gamsol, it creates whiter areas because it pushes the pigment out a bit. So it can be a nice painterly kind of effect if that's what you're going for. If you're going for a really smooth finish, you want to use a very small amount and just take your time with it instead of using a lot. I kind of like the painterly look a little bit, so I do it now and then. Get some kind of, you can even sometimes see a little bit of the brush strokes, and I kind of like that. It gives it a painterly look, like I was using actual paint instead of oil pastel. So just going along with it. I thought about speeding up the video a little bit more, but any faster and it just starts to look, you start to miss out on what I'm doing and you just see color appearing smoother. And I kind of like slowing it down a little bit so people who are interested, because especially for oil pastels, because as I've been learning oil pastels, I found that there's not a whole lot of information on them or any instructional videos that aren't aimed at kids. There's very few, because for some reason pastel is seen as a child's art supply very often, even though, as you can see, you can get some really cool effects with it that, any adult artist if they gave it a shot, would probably enjoy and be able to work into their pieces somehow, in some fashion, if they wanted to give it a go. But it's often seen as a child supply. So a lot of the instructional material that I found aimed at children's products, or excuse me, projects, not products. So that's a little frustrating in my journey. It's been kind of bugging me. So I was hoping that I could put up a few videos as I get better at oil pastels. Put up a few videos about it, and then there will be more information out there for other people who are just starting out. So that's why I wanted to slow the video down a little bit so you can really see what I'm doing. As you can see, I just smoothed out entirely, and I'm cleaning my brush in between each time before I dip it back in the Gamsol. That's something that I do because otherwise your Gamsol gets really full of the extra bits and it gets contaminated, which is why you want to pour it into a little jar, a little glass of some sort, because you don't want to just dip into the bottle because you'd be contaminating the bottle and you don't want to do that. And I'm using a smaller brush here for the more detailed areas. This particular flower I wasn't too excited with. I really liked the first two. The third was kind of special in its own way. And now I'm putting away the Gamsol in a Ziploc baggie because, you know, you don't want to breathe in the fumes. And if I'm not using it, I put it away. And I am using a Prismacolor. I just got Prismacolors. They're awesome. A Prismacolor black pencil to do the stems and the leaves, the swirly leaves, the spiral leaves that are so much fun. And that's the great thing about this technique is you can put colored pencil over it because once it blends out the Gamsol, it creates a nice surface that you can can draw on with colored pencil. So there you have it. I'm going to just do a little last detail on the flower to really make them pop. And the thing with black, you do want to be careful with black. You don't want to overload your painting or your drawing or whatever with black because black's a really stark color. But when you're doing abstract, you can definitely add more than you could if you were doing something more realistic or natural. So I've heard black is the death of color. I don't quite agree because I think it can really make your paintings pop. So that's my opinion. So all done, and this is what it looks like. Thank you for joining me. I have new videos every Friday at noon, so come on back. You can hit the like button, you can subscribe, all that jazz. Thanks again. See you next time. Bye.